got head football coach Manny Diaz here. We'll start with questions. As usual, if you have a question, please use the hand raise function and wait to be called on. We'll start off with Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan?
Hey, Manny. I know you said that you expected some more players to enter, the transfer portal, as most schools are dealing with now. I know yesterday you had a player that everyone reported had entered, Quentin Williams, who entered the portal. I have a two-part question. One is, was that a surprise to you? Was he healthy? I noted he only played in one game this season. He played in more last year. And then the second part is, what's your feeling about young players who are still learning and developing, maturing, entering the portal for reasons other than personal family situations? Do you think there's a trend where players are just impatient and the grass is kind of greener on the other side?
That's a great question. I think we're going to find out here in real time, because the reality of the portal is that there's going to be a lot more people in it than there's going to be spots. Because again, we still don't have any legislation to allow us to get ourselves full to 85. And that goes across the board. So we're all going to live through this new time together and see what happens. I think to the first part of your question, look, yes, I mean, obviously there's, college football is still a player development job, especially for the big guys. So in terms of surprise, I mean, I don't know what does surprise. It's irrelevant. But it gets tough because if you want to develop guys, you want to see them improve, and obviously we're pretty old on our defensive line and may not be very old next year. So it's the new normal, and you just have to adapt like everybody else does.
What about the grass is greener thing? You think it's a new era now where people are just jumping in because they're allowed to?
Well, no one even knows what grass you're talking about, because that's really the issue. I mean, if you don't have, where would you even be able to go? Is really the trick. So sometimes I think some in hypothetical situations, I think some guys believe that everyone that recruited them is still an option for a transfer, and there can be scenarios where that's true, but that's usually not the case. So we try to educate our guys, very similar to going pro. Try and give them the data of who's been in the portal, who's matriculated, what Power 5 transfers have stayed Power 5, what Power 5 transfers have gone to G5, what Power 5 transfers have gone to FCS, what Power 5 transfers ended up with nothing, and there's data on that now, and it does tell a story. So all we can do is educate. Same, like I mentioned, same thing with early entrance to the NFL.
We'll go now to Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris.
Hey, Coach, we saw Jalen Knighton in a red jersey yesterday. Just how is he doing? And then also, the importance of protecting him, these final 4 games after already losing 2 backs this year.
Yeah, Jalen's fine, but yeah, we don't want anybody bumping into Jalen right now because, obviously of our lack of depth at back. But I think we're excited about Cody Brown and some of the runs he had, and I think he'll get more carries going forward. And Thad's getting better every week in practice. So that's just, it's November. That's kind of just precautionary that we just don't need, someone all of a sudden being a hero in a team drill and Jalen taking a hit that he doesn't need to.
Is that the plan maybe moving forward the rest of this month? Just kind of keep him in that non-contact?
There's a solid chance you could see that. Yes. And even if he's not, I mean, that's going to be the plan. I mean, obviously we're pretty thin on offense.
All right, we'll go now to Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press. Tim, go ahead.
Manny, I had 2 things, and the first one's along the line of Chris's question. Are you at the point in the year where kind of everybody who's on the 2 deep might be in some sort of red jersey for practice, just for fear that you want to minimize risk, I'm sure, as much as possible this time of year?
I think every coach in the country, when you get to November, you're trying to, as you mentioned, mitigate the risk of someone getting dinged in practice, but the risk of maybe not being really sharp and game ready. What affects us a little bit differently than most people is because of being a private school and we have a difficult time getting walk-ons. So our scout teams, when you think about what our depth is like on offense and defense, trust me, the injuries we've had, it just wipes out your scout teams. As I mentioned, by the end of the year last year, I mean, we had we had graduate assistant coaches that were pretending to be offensive linemen against our defense, which is not ideal to get your defense ready to play the run on Saturday. So that's the balance. You know, you got to get the team healthy to Saturday. You want them fresh. We had a good week this week. I thought we had a good physical week this week, you know, but I thought we practiced in a smart way where everybody protected themselves and we'll be ready to go. But yeah, you're always trying to balance, you know, can we chop off a few minutes here? Can we, you know, do something just to get our guys ready to go, because we've been through a lot and obviously we don't have great numbers at a lot of positions.
And as a follow, Manny, can you take us through headset gate and how not having those 5 headsets will affect you on Saturday?
Say
The headset ruling that you guys
Yeah.
got hit with on Monday. Can you take us, what can you share about that and how much will that affect?
It won't have any effect on us at all. It didn't affect us last week, and we'll be fine. It'll have no bearing on the outcome on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll go now to Kobe Price from the Sun Sentinel. Kobe.
Hey, Manny, had a couple questions for you. First, we've talked a lot about, you know, the younger guys getting involved and getting on the field. We've seen that a lot in the secondary, but even on the D-line. I'm wondering, where is that at in terms of the linebackers? I'm thinking of guys like Avery. You know, I know he plays special teams, but him getting more defensive snaps, Tyreek Austin Cave. And I guess where do things stand with Sam Brooks? I know he had like a setback with his toe, I think you told us earlier in the year.
Yeah, Sam is still out at this time. And, you know, you mentioned guys like Avery, Tyreek. We really love our young guys like Tyler and Deshaun Troutman. But frankly, they're just behind in terms of understanding what to do. So their role is right now on special teams. We have been pleased at the way I think, again, the way our front, when I say the front, really talking about the linebackers as well, I think the way that our front has played the run in the 4 league games, we're pleased with. I think those guys are doing a good job of rotating through. And there's only so many guys that you can rep in practice once you get into the season. So, you know, we're at where we're at. We always continue to keep developing the other guys because we think they've got bright futures. But we are playing with young guys at linebacker. You know, Flag's a young guy. Smith is a young guy. But we're also getting good steady play from BJ and from Wayman.
And with tackling improved the last couple of games, I guess what's been the biggest change or biggest difference that you've made in practice to really, I guess, improve that the past few weeks?
Well, I think there's a lot of things, right? I mean, one is just the accountability of guys realizing when playing time is getting chopped away, that'll get your attention. And, I think as what's always going to happen, I think, the more you emphasize your drill work and, I think that's going to have an effect, being diligent about, wrapping up scouts, just wrapping up everybody. If there's someone walking down the hall with the football under their arm, wrap them up. I mean, I think we just, I think guys took pride in just being more diligent in their craft and what they were doing. But sometimes it's not complicated. If you put better tacklers on the field, better tacklers tackle better. And I think we have made much improvement in the last 2 games. I thought we were the better tackling team on Saturday, and normally the better tackling team wins.
And if I have my bad, just one last follow-up. With the NCAA violation, if you could share it, was that a violation that occurred against Pitt? Was that early in the season?
No, I like I said, I've kind of said everything I'm going to say about that. It's like I said, we move on. It's going to be an issue for this weekend, and like I said, it won't affect us at all.
Appreciate it.
Got time for a couple more for Coach if anyone else has anything. Anyone else? Go back to Tim Reynolds from the AP. Tim?
Manny, I wasn't on Monday, so I apologize because I'm sure you covered a lot about Georgia Tech, but what sort of has jumped off the film and, biggest area of concerns, for you this weekend?
Offensively, their ability to create explosive plays. I mean, I think their back, Gibbs, is probably the best back we've played since Walker from Michigan State. And obviously we got a lot of respect for Mason. He ran the ball very hard against us 2 years ago. You got a quarterback in Sims who's dynamic with his legs. It just dominated the North Carolina game in the second half when he came in there with his ability to run the football, and they can also make throws. They've upgraded their skill on offense. They got some wide receivers who can make some plays downfield and some run after the catch guys. And then defensively, they're just a unique scheme. And again, no matter what Tyler's done over the last few weeks, he's still a rookie, and it's been a changing picture for him every week, and he's got to do a great job in his preparation to be able to handle that because they're going to be in odd, and they've kind of got guys littered around the yard, and he's got to do a really good job of understanding where to go with the football, and because this will be something a little bit different than what he's seen in the past.
Have you guys discussed as a team just how crazy the Coastal looks right now? It's just very, very cluttered. There's like 5 teams with realistic shots at this thing right now. Have you guys discussed that at all?
Tim, we do give it passing mention. I mean, I think our players understand, what could happen, but we've played better in the last couple of weeks when we just focused on being better. Nothing matters other than beating Georgia Tech, really. It's like the ranking, anything, it's fun to talk about the way things look on November 2nd or 3rd, but they don't have parades after where you're at in November. So to me, it's hey, let's find a way to win a football game like we've done. Keep that backs against the wall mentality, come out fighting, let's get a fast start in front of our home crowd on Saturday, and see it through for 60 minutes. We do expect, when we play in the ACC Coastal, we expect the games to be tight, close, tightly contested. Georgia Tech's backs, they're against the wall. We recognize that. We expect to see a wounded team fighting for the life on Saturday.
Thanks again.
Last question for Coach Diaz comes from Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny.
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you about Avante. I know you said he was kind of drinking out of a fire hose last week. Any more sort of improvement, or do you think he's ready to play a little more on defense? And are there any other guys that, you've sort of seen the progress little by little? We've seen different guys pop up, obviously. Marcus Clark, obviously more playing time. Are there any other guys here in this last month you think are going to get more into the rotation?
I think, I think you'll see a little bit more of Avante this weekend on defense. Last week, Pitt was just, it was really difficult for those guys in the back end with the tempo that they were going at and just how formationally diverse they were with different personnel groups. Man, I'm trying to think of, there's not many left that aren't out there, doing something some way. Trying to think of both sides of the ball. I mean, we kind of, sort of at where we're at, So, but yeah, it'll be important. Obviously, you got the adversity of the game. Obviously we've had our share of injuries, but you got to be able to adapt if more come, and so everybody's got to be ready, and that's why you got to sort of get everybody trained up and be able to adjust to what comes.
And any update just on Jake? I mean, I know you guys were kind of hoping maybe November. Is it trending in a positive way where you think you might get him, or where does that sort of stand?
They're still kind of keeping caution right now. It was when we said November, it wasn't 1st of November. I mean, I think it was
right.
I mean, it was going to come down to the last week or two if he was available. So I think he's got an appointment coming up here soon where they're going to kind of assess and see where he's at. So we'll follow their guidance and see what they say.
Thanks.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Everybody have a great week.